back to the Got Her Back podcast, y'all. I'm sweating.
You are?
issues.
Man, I mean,
It's been a long day.
goodness.
But
Sakes alive.
This is going to be fun.
I love that we're talking about social media today.
Yes.
Woo! Welcome back to Got Her Back. And
You know,
hey, this was my first holiday without my kids.
oh my
Oh,
goodness.
how did that go?
I know. It was weird. It was very weird. I was
Yeah.
just I haven't ever had to do that yet. So, ever. So, that was different. Yeah. I mean, it was fine, but it just didn't feel like a holiday, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Yeah. But they're also getting older. So, the holidays do already feel different, but I didn't have them. So, that was,
I know. I was
really
seeing
weird.
you guys on social media. I was seeing the photos that you were posting, and I was like, seeing all the kids. I'm like,
Did
where's Maddie?
I don't
Where's
know.
Kason?
I don't know.
That's how I keep tabs with y'all. on
I
social
know.
media, 'cause
Hashtag divorce life.
Hashtag divorce life. It was, best decision ever, but that was a little weird. But I do know they're fine. You know what I mean? Like, so it's just different. It just looks different. We got to spend time with Olivia and, have a little lunch and all that fun stuff.
So today we are talking about social media. The good, the bad, the ugly, the sad. No, we ain't going that far.
There's no
But
sad.
There's no sad.
Yeah, there is, because you know what's sad about social media, and that I was thinking about the other day, is like our kids will never know what it's like to just live. Like,
Yeah.
we have no evidence. Like, we didn't have to worry about showing up a certain way or photos. Right. I mean, you might, but you knew they were just probably were going to be printed and put in a photo album. Not like our kids know we're going to share it to the world sometimes. You know what I mean? So I don't know. It's just, I feel like it's a lot of pressure on their generation. And I say all the time, if I didn't have a business, I wouldn't have social media.
And I feel like also it's sad because we kind of look at other people's lives.
It's the highlight reel.
Yeah, we kind of see, oh, they look so happy. How true is that? Or, gosh, her skin looks gorgeous.
Bullshit.
Like, I'm not gonna
Girl.
lie. Sometimes I see people, I'm like, man, why do they look so flawless?
Well, why are my kids and my nephew teaching me about filters? Like, like they'll look at pictures and be like, Aunt Meg.
Oh, we were
that
just
is
talking about
that
this
is a
earlier.
filter.
She goes, oh
like,
my gosh,
her,
girl.
her waist is not that small. And I'm like, I didn't know. Like,
And then with the AI, with the extra finger, like, y'all know about
what
that?
is that?
Extra finger.
Yeah, you can always tell it's AI if they have an extra finger. Y'all didn't know
What?
this?
No.
I'll show y'all. in a
Oh
little
my
bit.
gosh.
So AI, like, they have an extra little finger hanging out there. So
Oh my
you can always
gosh.
tell if it's AI generated or
Like
whatever.
a filter?
AI generated is a little different than filters, but similar.
Oh.
Filters to me, like, I loved filters when they first came out. Like,
Oh, we all did.
And Snapchat only had them, right? And there's like the little puppy dog and the little, all the things. And I loved them and everything. But I started noticing that my clients wouldn't take a picture without them. And then I just thought it was sad. Or I would start noticing certain people, like I would chat with clients online, and then when they would come in, like I wouldn't recognize them, and it would just be jarring to me. So I just stopped using them, because I was like, and I even started, like, when I would not use one, I would get really like mean to myself. So I was like, okay, I'm just not going to use them at all.
Or make you feel bad, like, I don't look like,
Honestly, you can look good in just really good
Yes.
lighting. Lighting is
Lighting is
everything.
everything.
Lighting is everything. So as long as I got some good lighting or natural lighting or whatever, like whatever, I just try not to be too hard on myself, because I hear women beating themselves down every
There
day.
were times where I'm like, I have to have a filter, like, because it just makes my skin look like smooth. My jaw
Says
looks
the girl with the
skinny.
best skin ever.
Yeah.
But, because that's what I see on social media. And I'm so thankful during that time when Instagram deactivated all the face altering filters.
For Texas.
Yes, for just text or certain areas.
For certain states.
And you got to see the real people.
There are certain people that I know in real life, family, like different people, and they do, like, 1,000% do not look like that. And then you see them in person, you're like, don't you think though, when you're gonna date or meet people, like, wouldn't you be a little like embarrassed at some point, or like think like
I don't like the
found
only-
out or
The only time
something?
I've used a filter was when y'all were telling me to do voiceovers on TikTok. And one time I did one and I was like practicing and it had a filter. And then Amy texted me. She's like, stop using that filter. It's freaking me out. And I'm like, okay, well, it just came with this voiceover, but now I kind of like it. So I did it like 2 or 3 times. But then I did do the negative self-talk too. And I'm like,
because then
all
you go
these-
back to what you really look like and you're
Yeah.
like, wow, I do have pores and I have texture on my skin and I have this and that.
And I see these girls and they can like literally like manipulate their body, like and make their waist smaller
Right.
and like their face, skinny. And I'm like, thank God I have high cheekbones.
I will
naturally,
say, I do like to use not a face altering filter, but a filter like a soft aesthetic filter. If like say I'm home working all day and I'm like, I do not want to put any makeup on, but I need to go do a video for work.
Yeah.
Then I'll like lean on one, but I try not to pick one that's like
Yeah,
altering.
but it's a little different because you're beautiful anyways, with or without the filter, both of y'all.
Perspective.
So, yeah, so it's just these girls that are like completely trying to change their looks, and then you see a picture of them in real life, and I'm like,
and it's
yeah,
sad
you ain't
because
the
the
same
generation
person.
now, they're growing up
Yeah.
with them. So how are they
Yeah.
going to feel
Yeah.
without them? Like, you know what I mean?
How does that work? I always tell people I'm mostly natural because I really don't have a lot of time to put on makeup like that. But someone will like, well, you have your brows done, you have eyelash extensions.
But you're
so
still
not
going to have
completely
those brows
natural.
and lashes when people see you in person.
So enhancements are different, I feel like, than filters. Like,
You still got them brows when somebody
Girl.
sees you in real life.
It's like back in the day when we were growing up, and you're at the club, and the lights came on, and you're like,
Half the girls scatter.
yeah, I'm like, I'm still fine with the lights on.
Bitch.
Yeah.
I'm just kidding. Filters to me, they are kind of sad, especially when I think about, like, I caught Maddox using filters before.
Oh my
and I was like,
goodness. No,
hey,
ma'am.
we don't, you don't need this. She's like, they're fun. I'm like, it's fine if they're fun, but you are like
Beautiful.
stunning. So please don't think that you need things like
filter.
that.
Yeah.
So if you are out there and you feel uncomfortable showing your true self, like, I want you to know I got pores. I have freckles. I have wrinkles. I have dimples. I have pimples.
I want to age gracefully. Like, I do love Botox and I love like,
Girl, I'm like wine. I've gotten finer with time.
but I do want to gracefully age. I want
Yeah.
to like teeter on the line of like still feeling really confident, but also
Yeah.
embracing like my age. I'm in my 40s, so I'm not going to look like when I was 20. You know what I'm saying? I look better.
I look better.
Just kidding.
I look better at 46 than I did at
I
36.
feel better. And
Yeah.
that's the thing. Like, I felt
Yeah.
better in my 30s and I feel better in my 40s. And I think it just comes with just age
And
and,
there's nothing
confidence.
wrong with Botox and stuff like that. I don't want people to feel like,
Oh, I love it.
You
Oh,
know,
I love
like,
Botox too.
It's all just preference, but
it's
I
just-
love it.
It's kind of like putting makeup on. It's kind of like getting your brows done, your lashes done. But a filter, like on your phone.
If there are little things, I'm in the beauty industry. I love everything about it. If there's something, I always tell my clients when they come to me and ask me like, what about this? Or sometimes it's a scar, sometimes it's their skin, and I'm like, if it's something that's bothering you and making you self-conscious, of course, like
Right.
do something about it. Who cares what anybody thinks? It's really more about how you feel. Don't do it for somebody else.
Yeah.
I'm never going to do something for somebody else, but if it makes me feel like,
Okay, so now we've talked about the filters on social media, but have you ever, I don't know, this might ruffle some feathers, but I've had to follow people in real life, I had to follow people that I knew on social media that I actually like looked up to because,
You had to unfollow them?
unfollow them. Is that what I said?
you said
No,
you
you
had to
said
follow.
follow
Oh,
them.
sorry. I meant unfollow them.
Okay.
Because they made me second guess myself as far as like my life, my motherhood, what I'm doing.
So they just made you feel.
So it was toxic for me. I was comparing myself. So as much as I love them and as much as I love their content,
Example.
I had to unfollow them.
Yeah,
Example.
but Maria, part of that is like comparison. It's like your own, like, look at me and my self-work. Comparison is like, like the worst enemy, because when you compare yourself to others, like, so some of that may just be like, it could have been what she was saying, right? But it could have been like, you need to not give into the negative self-talk because you're an amazing mother.
Give me an example
Yeah.
so I can know what would make you feel like it was taking a toll on you.
Work-wise, like there was a time where I felt like I wasn't getting a lot of campaigns, and that's how I get paid. And I'm like, man, what am I doing wrong? You know, like, I didn't change anything up, but there's this person that just.
Yeah, I mean, same for me, like, because I follow a lot of artists, you know, in a lot of different studios. If I think that they're super busy and we're having a slower month or something, same.
So here's what I would tell you to do. This is like, we're going to jump in like from this side is like, as hard as it is, because like this might upset you, but as hard as it is, you should have stayed and kept following her. Like as long as she wasn't being negative, because I feel like
motivating?
Because if you get to a point, we've talked about this before, like if you ever get to a point in your career where you think you can't learn from somebody, you know, unless the girl was being like negative, you know what I mean? Like she was being negative and her content got negative. But if it was like you were being envious or you were like, you know, like because you weren't getting campaigns and you thought you were doing something wrong, maybe you were getting down on yourself and it really was like you should have self-reflected. You should have looked in the mirror and not at her.
Yeah.
Oh, you know what this reminds me of?
Oh.
The other day, whenever we were in the car and what G was giving you a hard time about, he was like, hey, so I've been listening to this podcast and
yeah. I was having a moment and he was like, hey, I've been listening to this podcast. And
what podcast?
He said this girl.
Oh yeah. He goes, there's this girl and she's like really strong and has all this good stuff. And she's on that Got Her Back podcast.
He was basically telling her she needs to take her own advice.
Yeah. So
because
I for sure need to take. I can tell you what you need to do. Now, do I do it? No. Do I have my?
It's hard. We're human.
I'm telling you,
Right.
I have to unfollow people. I am like the queen of the unfollow button.
Yeah, like
and I love Facebook because you can snooze but not unfollow. Did you know that you can snooze for like 7 days?
I'm
or
the queen of
snooze for
blocker.
30 days
I'll
or
block.
snooze for like sometimes I just need a little.
Megan with the knees and the blocking.
Yeah.
Sometimes I just need a little timeout.
No, I'm full on block like bye bitch.
I want to see your block list.
Girl, my block list is strong and deep.
Because I don't really have a block list. I have a couple, but.
What about, okay, let's talk about when people stalk you on social media. I can't stand that though. Or like people that like make comments about your social media, but then they pretend like, you know, somebody sent it to you. No, you're looking at my social media somehow, some way.
Somebody screenshot it and sent it to me.
No.
No, that's not what happened at all. They went and looked.
No, you're blocked. You're blocked and blocked and blocked. So whoever you've got looking at my stuff, stop it right now.
And also about social media, just because it's not posted on social media does not mean it didn't happen. There are things that we feel like we should keep private.
Yeah, I mean, when I was younger, I wanted to post everything.
Well, I'm
just
like
posting everything. Now I'm like, I just forget, you know.
I don't know. I'm about keeping it 100 on social media, but I will say it takes some things, like depending on what it is, longer to talk about it than others, right?
And sometimes you just want to post on social media so you can have it there. Like sometimes I'm like, I don't really care that everybody sees this, but I do want to have these memories pop up or, you know, be able to go back.
I think
so
with my
I do,
blogging,
because it does kind of, you know, keep a little memory thing for you. Because how often do you go back in your camera roll and go look at last Easter's photos or something like that?
Correct.
They can pop up and you can be like, oh, like
That's
look how
what
little
my
they were.
Facebook is for. My Facebook
what I'm saying.
is strictly family and a few
I can
friends.
tell that you use that for that.
Yeah, but my
Both of
Instagram,
y'all.
my TikTok, and everything, I might post one out of the
Business.
500 photos I took.
But I
Maria,
can tell.
How do you deal with haters? Because I know you have to
Do you
deal with
get
the online
haters?
haters.
Oh,
I know we
yes.
talked
My
about
block list is
your bubble wrap or whatever, but
Do you get haters?
I do. And there's people that I've had to block that are like, I don't know if they're obsessed with my husband, but at one point there were people that were like
threatening you?
threatening me, people saying that he's married to them.
Girl.
Married to them?
Yes.
Stop it.
yes. I
Stop
had-
it right now.
No,
I can't.
Yeah. And it's so,
No.
of course, I bring it up to my husband. So he was like, you know, they want you to react. They want you to respond.
do.
And so what I do, I just block them because I know the truth.
Yeah.
You know you're married to him?
I know,
Let me see the paper.
you know, and so I've had people even with my kids, because my kids are a little, especially Tristan, you know, he's more public on there because he plays sports. And so I have to watch out on who comments. There's people that comment on his page that I feel, sometimes I get those vibes where I'm like,
Too much.
Yeah, it's a little too much.
It's too
Yeah,
much.
like is it like a molester?
No, more like kind
Or-
of like very personal. Like,
Oh.
like
Too much.
Too much.
So the best thing I ever heard about haters came from your husband when he said a hater is a confused fan. That's never left my brain. I'm like, that's so true. Like, because they do kind of obsess over it. It's like, if you weren't a fan, why are you spending so much time like hating on that person? You know what I mean?
Well,
He's
what
like,
about people that aren't famous but they think they have fans on social media?
I know a few.
I can't with that either.
Are you talking about me?
No.
I'm y'all's fan.
I don't.
Joyce is our fan.
Yeah, I don't.
Joyce
say,
be our fan.
I never say I have fans.
Top fan.
I can't. No, I don't even have a business page. I can't. I mean, I do have a business page that is like I don't ever
Your
post on
mama
it.
is.
That's what I'm saying. Joyce is the top fan. She's
Yeah.
top contributor. She gets the badge.
Yeah.
She's always great episode.
Oh
And
yeah.
I love
Loved
it, y'all.
it.
Keep listening
Yes,
to our episode.
it's so
It's
cute.
motivating
She
and-
is like number one OG fan
And we
of
talked about
anything.
this. You know, we like what you say. You're very obsessed with numbers, and you know.
Yeah.
But and I'm like, well, our episode didn't do that well this week. But we get the outpour of messages.
Then we get
Yeah.
more like behind the
Yeah.
scenes messages.
Yes, and to me,
Those are better.
impact is so much better than
Yeah.
numbers.
I told you at the beginning, like if we can help
Yeah.
start with one person and build from there, and we've gotten countless. We haven't even gotten one thumbs down. Now, don't y'all get any ideas and go give us a thumbs down on YouTube? But it's all been like thumbs up. You know what I mean?
Lots of good
So,
feedback.
yeah, of course, so much. I mean, I've had people like from high school reach out and all kinds of things, and I'm thinking, you know, like people I would have never even guessed would have thought to even listen.
One
but
thing that makes me a little bit nervous about social media is like my kids. So I used to like show everything about them. And I think I got a really weird message one time about Maddie, you know, that I was kind of like, And so, and my whole account is public just because, and most of the people on there are all women. Like if I have women that friend request me, as long as we have some mutual or something, like I accept all women.
Yeah.
But all the men, they're just hanging out and they're declining. Like I'm like, I don't really have any reason for you to be on here and be all creepy, you know, but it is public. So if I post my kids, I just change the privacy setting to private. Like it has to be on my friend. It can't just be like,
I know, and
out
some
in the
people are probably
world.
like, well, if you don't want your kids out there on social media, then don't post them. But it's kind of like
It's part of your life.
It's life now.
I started my business before I had Maddie, so people ask all the time about her and Kason. They ask all the time about Brylin. He used to be hoverboarding around like 10 years old, you know what I mean,
Yeah.
through there. And so now when he walks in, he's got a full beard and,
Muscles.
you know, and yeah, like he's like a whole man. They're like,
Who is
And
this?
we have the power to choose what we post on social media.
Right.
I don't post real time. If I'm at, this Starbucks on whatever street, I don't post that.
Yeah.
I wait until
Yeah,
I
but your
leave.
life is a little bit different than ours. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Still,
Nobody's
like,
caring if
you
I'm at
never know.
Starbucks.
You got stalkers.
nobody's caring where I'm at, girl.
Y'all got
But
stalkers
I
too.
do not,
Shoot.
I try to post after the fact,
Yeah.
like after I'm home, because
I never do check-ins, so that's not my
or check-ins.
thing.
Like I don't want to be checked in somewhere and people be like, oh, they're not home, or
Yeah.
So that's one
XYZ.
of the things that I am very transparent with companies that I work with, especially when we do travel or on location, and they want to post real time. I'm like, that for the safety of my family and my children, I'm not going to.
That's
post real
smart,
time.
super
Yeah.
smart. Yeah,
Good
I think
business
that
decision, Maria.
I think that everybody should do that. I think it's just you never know who's looking and
Yeah.
What about when you block them out of your life? Do you go? How quick do you go block them?
you
on
unfollow in real life and block them in real
the
life.
same? Yeah, I'm like immediate, like because I'm like so
Okay,
like
so I
tolerant.
read something about this.
I'm so tolerant. I'm so tolerant, and I will give you like 1,000,000 miles. But
You are so tolerant.
okay.
Say
let me
that
take
one more time.
Take that back. Let me run that back.
Rewind, run
yeah.
back,
Let me run that back with
Make it with the knees.
with friends and like acquaintances and whatever. Well, it depends if they're really close. But like my really close friends, like y'all don't ever give me any reason to.
We don't
like-
act up.
No, but you do act up sometimes. No, I'm just kidding. You don't. So It depends on the person. Like sometimes people are kryptonite, right? So my ex was kryptonite. I gave him 1,000,000 chances, right? So, but then like when I'm done, like when I finally can get to a spot where I'm done, like then I'm freaking done. So then it's like delete your butt out of my life.
Yeah.
So how are y'all like with that? Like
I'm
with
very
acquaintances?
strong with it, girl. But my therapist told me it's a trauma response.
Oh hell. So,
Yeah, because I thought, oh, it's like a good quality that I have. Like
Yeah.
I can cut you off and never think about you or look at you again. Like it does not bother me one bit. Like I have a sister I've done it to. Like never thought about it again. You know what I mean? Sorry, but but my therapist is like, I think that's something you need to look more into because that's a trauma response, a defense mechanism,
Ooh,
and so it's
I
not
could see
something
that.
to be proud of. You've just learned that you can't rely on people, so you just cut it off first, and then you're the one to like.
I don't have a lot of friends. So
how's your cutoff game?
if I'm friends with you, then we're friends. But if I I don't know. I mean, I
So,
only have like
you're good.
100 friends on Facebook, and most of that is my family. But I don't know. I'm just very private. I wouldn't say private.
Yeah, I would say
Selective.
private.
Yeah, I would say private.
Selective about who I spend my time with.
Yeah, I don't have very many
Because sometimes
friends.
it can be a little toxic too, you know? So
Hashtag stay toxic.
So have you always been this way, Megan? Or is this something you learned with age, or is this something maybe from your childhood? Like, have you been this way with friendships or boyfriends?
No, because there are certain friends that I've like, they'll cut them off. You know, I think it depends on the person.
It probably depends on what happened.
Right. And it depends on the person.
The level.
So sometimes I just have to put them in timeout for a while, and then maybe I'll go back to them if they start acting right. But if I need to put somebody in timeout, then I'll just put them in timeout. And then there's some people that I just am like, no, like this was too much for me. I'm cutting the cord and I'm not looking back. So I don't know, maybe it is a trauma response.
What have you, like, what would make you block or unfollow? What would make just you unfollow somebody online? Like they get on your nerves a little bit, or just too
Unfollow
much?
would just be like, okay,
I think sometimes it's
if they're too negative.
political.
Yeah.
oh yeah.
Yeah, if they're too negative, but yeah, like if they're too negative, I can't. But you know, I can be negative because I'm like, I'm gonna give you the good, the bad, the ugly.
Yeah.
Like I'm not gonna like. It is what it is.
You
with
let it
me.
all hang out.
I let it all hang out.
Yeah,
I don't
you let it
care.
all hang out. I never let anything hang out on social.
Yeah, well,
I can't think of anything I've ever let
but to
hang out.
block somebody and to, like unfollow would just be like they're getting on my nerves. You know what I mean? So it's like I don't want them
Yeah.
to think like, oh, I don't want to be friends with you or like be in my
If it's
life.
causing
but-
a reaction
Yes.
in me, like, ugh, every time I see it,
Yeah.
then I will unfollow.
So, for instance, like especially like when it comes to our kids, and you know, like when we would
know
see
where
all
you're
the
going.
stuff, yeah, like every time we see stuff like in the news, like with police, and you know, when it comes to our kids, and then you get people going on like you know racial tangents, I will like react because my lifelong like promise is to like try to make a better life and a better world for my kids. And what kind of impact I don't know me as one person could do, but in my head that's what I've always told myself, because my you know like all of our kids are mixed, you know, so like I just want the best for y'all's kids like I want the best for my kids. So that would trigger me, and so I would be like, well, let me educate you, like don't say it that
Yeah.
way. And it usually would just start a back and forth. So now I've like, it took a long time.
she's went after my friends
Long time.
Megan,
But-
remember?
yeah, but now I just unfollow. Like I
She
don't
used
even,
to
because
go after
otherwise,
my friends,
oh
too.
girl.
I mean, the good thing is you did what you were supposed to do. You spent your time, you educated people.
You do it well, though, in a good way.
And you're not disrespectful. I've
Yeah.
seen some of your posts where it's just like more,
It's
you know,
to the
it's
point.
raw. It's the truth.
Yeah.
And if it triggers you, then you might have an issue. Like,
Yeah. And don't, if I post something, don't come on my page and tell me how I should, you know what I mean? Like, don't come over here, especially when it's something that like, for instance, if you're white and you're white and you don't walk a day in my shoes, your kids aren't mixed, like don't come over here, you know, this is my page. So like, then I'm going to like,
Then it's like you can unfollow me.
right,
yeah,
Right.
it's
right.
your
If you don't
page,
like
it's
it,
your platform.
Have you ever been unfollowed and
Oh.
not known why?
oh, I'm sure.
Yeah, probably.
Probably, I'm sure.
Have you ever been like, wait, I can't find this person? Oh.
No, but there
I'm
was
blocked.
time. No, there was time where
I have.
there was a time where I accidentally blocked somebody, and Ebony was
How do
like,
you accident?
No, swear to God, I accidentally blocked somebody, and Ebony's sister-in-law. She's so sweet. I love her. And so she got back on social media and she was looking for my page and she was like, I can't find her. Did Maria get off of social media? Maria couldn't have gotten off social media. So Ebony texted me and she was like,
is everything okay?
Yeah. And I was like, oh my God, how is she blocked?
Sometimes I think social be doing it for you sometimes.
Like there was no reason I would block her. So I'm like, I didn't block her. I don't know if it was like, you know.
Sometimes there's instances where people will say I unfollowed them and I really didn't. And I'm like, I feel like it glitches or something.
Yeah.
Have you ever had that happen? And then sometimes I really did, and I might tell them.
There's
why.
other, like, what about groups, like Facebook groups? Oh my God. So,
I
like,
mean, I like Facebook groups
No.
for specific ones. I like mom groups.
But I've had to get off of those too. Like, I'll have to get off of them because, you know, people trigger me. I might get triggered a little easy, you know, but still, like, there was ones for my company, and I would be like, you know, the worst agents talking the most smack, and I'm like, what is your book size? It's probably like less than 500 PIF, which is like, you know, so I'm like, stop being negative because like they write, you know, your paychecks. It makes me so angry. So I just like, I get it. Like not everything is good, but to like control what you can control. So honestly, during COVID and when I had Spencer and I got off all of those groups, like it literally like, it's like, just like,
I feel like,
like it
Facebook
lifted.
was unhinged during COVID.
oh, it was. It
Right?
was.
Like, everybody was on
like,
one.
oh yeah.
It was, I mean, that's all we had to do.
It was Black Lives Matter movement.
Oh,
it
yeah.
was COVID. It was masks. It
Election.
was election.
all
It
of it.
was
Everything.
Everything.
crazy.
It was
right?
crazy.
That's traumatic for
It
everybody.
was. I know.
I think
Yeah.
trauma.
Yeah.
At least we're on the other side of that.
No joke.
Yeah. And my
Right.
thing is when it comes to like political views, everyone's going to have their opinion.
I just don't
I
speak
don't.
I don't
or
speak, I mean, I'll
post
speak
politics.
about it, but it's just my thing is I'm going to respect you and I expect you to respect me. That's why I prefer, like, I have families on both sides.
Y'all, one time I went into FedEx and Maddie walks in and asked my FedEx guy that he does design, like he helps design all my books and stuff like that. And she asked him, who did you vote for?
Oh my Lord. Oh my Lord.
And I'm
Maddie?
like, yes, because at the time she was going to private
that's
school
my
and they were
girl.
pushing
That's my girl.
their agendas and politics and things like that. And they were having their own ballots at school and they were
No, ma'am.
voting and they were telling who to vote for and all this. She was going around asking everybody who they were voting for and like giving them the eye and the stink eye and all that. I was like, we're not even voting for that person. So I don't know what you're talking about.
This has nothing to do with policies, but one thing that I feel like I also struggled with growing up, interracial relationships.
Oh, girl, I'm 10 years older than you, so hush right here.
There were times where people have, you know, said to Trent, I didn't know that your wife was a different race than you.
Like it was a negative?
Like it was a negative
Oh,
thing.
wow.
And so my thing is like I teach my children, of course I teach them color because I want them to see color, but don't judge anybody based off of their color.
I don't think that my kids know what color they are sometimes.
Oh my Lordy.
No, they do, but sometimes I wonder.
Well, Taryn had that issue on the bus when he was in like elementary school, and like he had kids, like, you know, I didn't even know until like one day he had got his hair cut, and I was like, oh, I made the comment, I was like, oh, your hair's an afro like daddy's, and he started crying at the dinner table and was like, don't say that to me, and I'm like, oh my gosh, like, you know, it was just poofy. And so I was like, oh, it's just poofy. Well,
It was
it
cute.
was so cute. But kids had been making fun of him on the bus for like months, and he just held it in and held it in. And so it was like that day. And, you know, like, I mean, I've been, you know, dating outside of my race since like 1989. And I'm telling you, that shit wasn't cool. I can remember being in corporate America, the first job after,
Oh,
yeah, let's put it in there.
in a row.
I can remember starting a
Nine
new,
more shits to say. Ooh,
oh,
8.
Oh,
there you go. I can remember my first job, corporate America, after college. So 2000. I mean, we're in the 2000s, 2001, 2002. And I remember not hiding, but not telling anybody that I dated outside of my race. And because I was afraid of how it was going to impact me at
Yeah.
work, because I could tell by comments that were being made at work how strongly people's views were.
yeah.
And so I was like, oh my goodness.
You find
know?
out pretty quick on social media. So that's one thing
Yeah.
about social media. You're going to figure out
Yeah.
what people believe and their thoughts.
And when they have a, like they have a moment and they go on a tangent, and I'm like, yeah, my kid's not going to be the token kid
I'll
for
be
you.
like, screenshot, because I know you're going to regret and delete that later.
The best part about my kids being in an interracial marriage or relationship is just our kids are they know both sides. They know Asian culture or Filipino culture. They know their African American culture. So to me, that's what
they're winning.
Yeah, there is, and I'm not saying that you have to be in an interracial relationship to be like that, but it's more so just being open about learning other cultures.
They'll just be more diverse.
Religion.
I mean,
Yeah.
My dad was older. So, my dad was like 43, my mother like 23. It was like a 20-year age gap when they got married. So my dad was in his 80s, when he passed. And so like my ex was the first boyfriend I ever had. And that was when I was like 27 that he allowed in the house. And it was finally like I got to a point and I'm like, I realized I was going to be with my ex long term and that, I wanted to marry him. And so it was like, okay, either you accept or you're going to lose me, like as a daughter. And so I had to go. And it was like about 6 weeks that he didn't talk to me.
But he had to think about it.
I guess he had to think about it.
Because of the way they were raised. I mean,
But then, he came back and then him and my ex actually I feel like I had a great relationship. And then over time, I feel like, like my ex was closer to my dad than probably during that period of time to my dad than his own dad, which, was good for the time, but also sad to see.
Yeah.
So that's the bonus thing about social media, especially on TikTok, because it's a lot more like the generation now. I love how they are respecting different religions and races, like not saying certain parts of the song because it's saying racial words, like they so I love that. I love how they promote being respectful.
How do you feel about social media and relationships, like how it affects relationships? Because I feel like it is like a big
it's a lot. My ex never would post me. He would never post me.
And I love that my boyfriend now doesn't. I mean, he has social, but he does not get on it at all. Like we send TikToks back and forth and stuff like that. Like we speak in those all day throughout the funny ones. That's about how our conversations go all day, but there's not he has to get validation on there, or he doesn't need that. He's secure, doesn't need that. Some people live on there are seeking that outside validation all the time, or not posting their wife or girlfriend or anything. They have a whole nother alter ego type
and here's
thing.
The other thing is and when you're in a relationship and you've got someone that is heart emojiing or liking,
not with the heart emoji,
heart emojiing women, that is cheating. You know what I mean? That is cheating. It's you know what I mean? You shouldn't be looking at other provocative women's pages. That is not okay if you're supposed to be in a committed relationship. And I agree with that. I'm dating now and, they don't he does not want to put, he has social media as well and we send reels back and forth. But I don't know that I'll ever post my relationship again, even after my divorce is final, just because it was really traumatic for me when my ex wouldn't post me. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so then I always harbored that ill will towards him. And now I would see people saying and they came to me and they're like, we had no idea
that was sketchy.
Yeah. But we also had no idea that you guys had problems because I was posting, right?
The thing that was crazy about that, I'm not going to say too much, but the thing that I always side-eyed was we would take these cute pictures of all of y'all, together, family pic, and then
all those photos we took in Bali.
All those, and then it was he would only choose to post the ones of himself or the ones with just him and a child or whatever. And I'm like, you have to know that is hurtful, right? It seemed very.
And then here I was posting
and then
my
you look
marriage.
at yours and you see all of the photos,
right?
So that was always just a little side eye.
Yeah, but then I also was when I tell you sometimes it takes longer to trying to save face or whatever, because when people come to me and we're like, well, Megan, I had no idea you had even issues in your marriage, and you're and I'm like, yeah, because I I'm not saying that it was all bad.
But you
know
love
what I mean?
the idea of your family.
Of course.
So I think
and
that's
I was
why
trying
you
to-
love the
That's what you're
family
proud of.
photos.
Right, and I was trying to fight for my family.
You love the family dynamic.
Right,
Like I love
exactly.
a family dynamic. So it's just like you're proud of that. You had
Right.
built a family. Y'all were together a really long time and all that. So I'm like, I think that it would probably benefit couples because social media is hard. I think it would benefit couples to be like, let's establish now like what we
is
think
going-
is
yeah.
good
Right.
or bad. Like,
Right.
can you like people's photos? Can you love them? Can you comment
Right.
on them? Like, can you like what I feel like everybody's idea would be different. And so I think probably setting the tone off in the beginning would probably be helpful, don't
I mean,
you
me and
think?
Trent, I mean,
course.
we're both on social media. Our relationship has always,
I don't see you out there just heart emojiing guys' photos
no,
though.
not at all. But when we first started dating, there were
Imagine
times
putting the
where-
fire.
There were times when
I
we
can't.
first started dating where I felt like, there was times where I'm like, this could be really toxic.
Yeah.
It
Yeah.
could be really toxic. But
Yeah.
you also have to feel what kind of relationship you're in. Like, did I feel comfortable? Like, hey, I don't feel comfortable with you following this person.
Yeah. I think you should be
You know,
able to
just
say
being
things
open
like
like
that.
that.
Or what is your relationship with this person? Like, what am I missing? If this person, like, I would notice like sometimes there would be one person like liking everything,
Yeah.
commenting on everything, and you don't know that person. You're kind of like, that's
Yeah.
gonna raise
That's
some
how you-
eyebrows where you're
yeah.
like, okay, so who is this person? And
Yeah.
it could be a family member and you don't know about it, or it could be like somebody they met at the gym or
So,
that
like,
they
I
met
like what
out.
you said, like setting the
Tone.
setting the tone, because it's not all about social media. It's
Everybody's
about what you're
different,
accepting. It's
too.
about what you're giving.
Some people might not care if they go
Yeah.
like everybody's pictures.
No.
Like they could be like using it for business, and I don't know.
How
What-
do you feel like too? Because it was a huge issue in my relationship and marriage. It'd be like girls just out themselves. It's just ridiculous. Like they'll out themselves and they'll make like inappropriate comments. You know what I mean? And so then it's like, okay, well, you need to delete them or block them. And then when you're like, my ex would refuse. And so then it was like, okay, well, you're choosing this over your
whole
marriage?
family?
Yeah. So I
Then
mean,
there's a problem.
That is a problem.
You can't control other people's and what they do, but
Right,
you can
but you
control
can-
what you can
that's
do, or
right.
what you could accept.
Because if it's causing insecurity in your spouse, like I feel
Right.
like it should be like, oh yeah, like what
If it's
sure.
important to me, it should be important to you. And if
Yeah.
it's not, yeah.
Now, if you don't let them follow anybody of the opposite
No,
sex, that's
but-
cray cray.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So there's a fine line,
yeah,
I think.
like
right?
I can call Trent right now and I can say, hey, there's somebody on your page that you're following, and I feel intimidated.
Trent,
But
just kidding, no.
he'll be like,
Right.
all right, I'll unfollow. I'll
Yeah.
block. There's no question about it.
Because it's like that random person on social or your family.
Yeah.
Come on.
Right.
Like, that's crazy. That doesn't
Yeah.
even sound like,
I
why
think
would
it's
you
just
take a
being
stand on that?
transparent.
Yeah,
Like
I think
what
it
you
just
said.
goes back to communication and setting the tone and
Yeah.
Girl,
Boundaries. And I had
boundaries.
zero.
boundaries
Well, I
and
tried.
goodbyes.
Well, actually, yeah. Like I tried to have boundaries, but I guess I wasn't very good at implementing them.
Boundaries and filters. That is our title for this podcast.
Man,
That's right.
filters.
There you go. That is good.
That is social media, man. Like it's
It's-
good
it's
and
power-
it's a double-edged sword.
It's a good thing and
Yeah.
a bad thing, but you just have to understand.
Also, too, you got to be careful. Like sometimes you want to post your man and tag him and all that, but then girls will be slick and go message,
yeah.
They'll all of a sudden go friend request them and stuff, and then like on the DL, like start sliding in the DMs and stuff. So it's like I get why some people. I hear that from my clients all the time. Like I don't post my boyfriend because
Yeah.
I've had this happen or whatever. So there are a lot of things. But one more thing before we wrap it up, like this might really irritate somebody, but what about the Facebook groups that like they're sharing their Facebook all of a sudden? Like it's like wife and husband sharing.
What is it? I'm confused.
On. When husband and wife share an account, all of a sudden,
Oh, yes.
Come on.
Yeah. Come on. Yeah.
come on.
Get your own accounts.
No, that's when you know there might have been something happening.
Yeah.
or maybe their husband just isn't on social media like that, and it's
That
so-
could be,
yeah.
but it's just, sometimes
Yeah.
you see a toxic relationship and then all of a sudden they share one. It's like,
I've
ooh,
never
what'd you do?
I've never believed in sharing one social
I don't know
media.
though, because I like my coach, you know, like he shares one with his wife, and I think they have a really good marriage. And I'm like, you know what?
Maybe that's their boundary.
Maybe that's what their boundary is because they share it, you know, in
It's
order.
very transparent.
Right. So I think it could go either way.
Yeah.
I've just
Yeah.
had my Facebook account since I was in college, and
Remember when you could only get it if you were in a university?
yeah, and so I'm just like, nothing has changed.
This was a really good one. You know?
I like social. It can be super addicting though. But
Yeah.
so I do try to have
And
balance.
while we're talking about socials, make sure you follow our personal social media accounts. We have Megs Unfiltered over here, and Inspired by Carrie over here, and Mrs. Maria Shelton. We're about to wrap this up because our kids are calling me.
Oh, her kids are calling her.
And so, thank you guys so much for tuning in. Follow all of our personal accounts and make sure you like, subscribe at Got Her Back Podcast and continue to listen to our podcast.
This was fun.
Bye,
Bye, guys.